Hey guys, it's me Falcor. Welcome to the video. Basically today I'm just going to be reviewing or going over Glacial Berserker class. Overall I think it's a pretty good class, pretty good for soloing, farming singular enemies, kind of good, farming multiple enemies, better up with things like Legion Revenant, Latter Given, and things which just have multi-hit and target attacks. Support wise, it does decent debuffs, so I think that's pretty good. And yeah, let's just get into the video. Now, overall, when it comes to enhancements, this class really relies on hitting its crits, so Luck, in my opinion, is probably the best enhancement you can do. Mixing it with things like Fighting, Hybrid, or Thief, you could do that as well. Fighting, definitely decent, but I think Full Luck is also probably the way to go. Now, when enhancing your weapon, you can either do just a Luck enhancement if you don't have the Blade of Ore unlocked yet, but I think Spiral Carve Luck, really good for this. Obviously it increases your crit chance and your damage overall, and I think that's just brilliant for this type of class especially. Right, so let's actually talk about the abilities themselves. I'll try to go in as much detail as possible, but please forgive me if I miss anything. There's only so much I can remember, and I will probably end up reading the 5th skill's buffs and debuffs because it's a lot to talk about. Now, your first skill you always want to start off with is your auto attack. It just gives you your actual buffs and debuffs for your other skills which coincide with each other. So you have Ancestral Rage, and you have Curse of the Ancestors. These run on the auto attack cooldown, and I think Curse of the Ancestors has about a 4-second cooldown, while Ancestral Rage is about an 8-second cooldown. Now, your first skill is Fists of the Frost. It does real damage, as you can see here. It did like 600, or maybe it did 400, I don't know. Either way, when it crits, it does pretty decent damage. Now this skill, it increases your crit chance by 10% each time, and it can stack up to 30%. And this is what you really want to keep active along with your 5th skill. Along with Curse of the Ancestors, it can also lower the haste up to 30%, along with increasing your crit chance up to 30%. Your 3rd skill is Shout of the Ancients. It basically makes this big guy appear, you do damage, pretty nice. If you've got one of the buffs active, as mentioned, it causes debuffs, and it reduces the hit chance up to 30%, or by 30%, not up to, I apologise. Your 4th skill is Calm Before the Storm. This gives you your 6-second heal over time. It's a pretty decent heal over time, especially if you don't have a healer in the party or you're just soloing things. As I mentioned, it's a pretty decent soloing class for mid-health bosses, stuff which doesn't do extremely high damage, but you can bear with it. Now, once again, if you have the debuffs active, it increases your damage by 60% for 10 seconds. Really good. Works really well with your crits as well, especially if you've got everything stacked up already. Finally, your 5th skill is Glacial Storm. This skill does do damage, unlike your 4th skill. It increases your crit damage by 50% for 10 seconds, and reduces the chance to hit by 50%. So overall, that's a stack of 80% on this class if you can get them both active at the same time. It says here that you do have a chance to buff your haste by 30%. By 30%, if that makes any sense, so a 30% chance to increase your haste by 30%. And overall, a haste increase on this class is really nice. It just means that you're landing more auto attacks and more skills in general with crits, dealing a bit more DPS. I think that's great. As it says in the skill description, if your foe has Ancestral Cold, they become shocked, reducing damage done by 80% for 10 seconds. Now, this is great along with your heal over time. You're basically never going to die soloing these mid-range bosses, but it just kind of secures it for you, really. Especially if you mess something up, or if you've got a bleed, or another damage over time on you, etc, etc. Right, so let's also get into the soloing capabilities of the class. The combo really is to start off with your auto attack, go to your 2, keep stacking your 2, go to your 4, your 3, then 5. Then you basically want to keep your 2 and 5 active as much as possible. The 2 increasing your crit chance as mentioned before. Using your other skills like your 4 and your 3 when they do show up as well. But the 2 and 5 keeping those active is pretty important. As you can see, I'm not dealing extreme amounts of damage, but I'm doing pretty well, especially for soloing a 100k boss. I'm not dying anytime soon thanks to my heal over time as well. And yeah, overall pretty decent boss. Decent class for soloing bosses around this range, maybe a bit higher as well. And yeah, I definitely recommend it. There we go, he's dead. It didn't take too long. Also, pretty good if you want to use it in the new Tricaf event. I've used it a bit in that, especially if there's no one else in the room. Allows me to just do things by myself, really. Pretty good. Now there's the overview I want to talk about. As mentioned, this class isn't built for farming. I have used it for farming bosses, that's a given because you can solo them. Farming semi-high health enemies, which you have to kill over and over again in a group where there's more than just that one type of enemy, I think that's pretty useful. Farming multi-enemies, definitely leave that to things such as Legion Revenant and Master of Moglins, Necrotic Chronomancer for example, some really good multi-hitting target classes. Soloing, pretty decent, it's pretty up there. The debuffs, pretty good overall, especially if you can get some of them active, helping out a party, or just helping out yourself in general. Compared to a class like Lightcaster does also do quite a lot of damage, and you've got a pretty good sustainability there, no need to worry. But I think this is a pretty good soloing class as well, especially if you can pick it up during Frostveil. And PvP wise, I don't really play PvP much, but I imagine it does okay. Classes which dodge a lot like Ninja, or I think Yamino Ronin also dodges quite a bit. You're going to struggle because you can't land your crits and you can't land your debuffs and everything else. So I think that's something to be careful about. Probably use a different class in my opinion. But he's not terrible, that's for sure. Could be a lot worse. So overall, I'd give it like a 3.5 out of 5 for things like that. And I think overall the class, what I'd grade it is probably about a 3.5 to a 4, especially for what it's strong and it does pretty decently. Obviously there are stronger classes out there, but yeah, overall pretty easy to pick up. You just need to get rank 10 rep in Glacial, and yeah, that's about it. I want to thank you for watching the video. I hope it was pretty useful to you. My apologies if I did get anything wrong, and my apologies if it's not the best class video. It is my first attempt, but hopefully it will get better from here. I'll try my best to make better videos overall. And please do consider subscribing, commenting, seeing what you like, don't like, and whatever else. And hopefully I can improve on the future. Thank you very much for watching the video, and I hope you have a good day.